Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Shri Shri Radha Madan ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Thai Gaur Prema Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 3, verse number 14. Ko va ihate parajito parajitaya mayaya navasita padavyanavrita matirvishaya visharayanavrita prakritir anupasita mahacharanaha. Ko va ihate parajito parajitaya mayaya navasita padavyanavrita matirvishaya visharayanavrita prakritir anuparanaha. Ko va ihate parajito parajitaya mayaya navisita padavyanavrita matirvishaya visharayanavrita prakritir anupashita mahacharanaha. Anybody else? Kahava, who is that person? Iha, within this material world, te of your lordship, parajitaha, not conquered, parajitaya, by the unconquerable, mayaya, illusory energy, anavasita padavya, whose path cannot be ascertained, anavrutamatihi, whose intelligence is not bewildered, vishaya visha, of material enjoyment, which is like poison, raya, by the course, anavrita, not covered, prakritihi, whose nature, anupasita, without worshipping, mahacharanaha, the lotus feet of great devotees. Translation: Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. Purport. Maharaj Nabi was inclined to performing great sacrifices for begetting a son. The son might be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such a material desire, be it great or insignificant, is brought about by the influence of Maya. A devotee does not at all desire anything for sense gratification. Devotion is therefore explained as devoid of material desires. Anya Balashita Shunya. Everyone is subjected to the influence of Maya and entangled in all kinds of material desire. And Maharaj Nabi was no exception. Freedom from Maya's influence is possible when one engages in the service of the great devotee, Mahat Charana Seva, without worshipping the lotus feet of a great devotee. One cannot be freed from Maya's influence. Srila Narottama Das Thakura therefore says, Jadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Payeche Keva. Who has been freed from Maya's clutches without serving the lotus feet of a Vaishnava? Maya is aparajita and her influence is also aparajita as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Daiveyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This divine energy of mine, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. Only a devotee can surpass Maya's great influence. It was no fault on Maharaj Nabi's part that he wanted a son. He wanted a son like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the best of all sons. By the association of the Lord's devotee, one no longer desires material opulence. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22:54. Sadhu Sangha, Sharva Shastra Koye, Lavamatra Sadhu Sanghe, Sarva Siddhi Hoye. And Madhya 22:51. Mahat Krupa Vina Kuno Karme Bhakti Naya, Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu, Samsara Naihakshaya. If one is serious about escaping Maya's influence and returning home back to Godhead, one must associate with a sadhu devotee. That is the verdict of all scriptures. By the slight association of a devotee, one can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Without the mercy of a pure devotee, one cannot get freedom by any means. Certainly, a pure devotee's association is necessary in order to obtain the loving service of the Lord. One cannot be freed from Maya's clutches without sadhu sangha, the benediction of a great devotee. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5-32. Prahlad Maharaja says, Sham matistavat kurukramangrim sprishati anarthapagamo yadartaha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam ishkinchananam navrinita javat. One cannot become the Lord's pure devotee without taking the dust of a great devotee on his head. Padarajobhishekam. A pure devotee is niskinchana. He has no material desire to enjoy the material world. One has to take shelter of such a pure devotee in order to attain his qualities. Pure devotee is always free from the clutches of Maya and her influence. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Akshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate grim, yat kripatamaham vande, Shri Gurum Deenataharinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Gaurnithai Ki. No one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. So, because Maya is the Lord's own divine energy, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, and the Lord has empowered Maya to be very subtle and very deceptive. It's almost impossible to detect how Maya works. Uh, it may appear as it may appear in many variegated forms. One should not think that Maya means beautiful form of a woman, or some power and authority and money or something like that only. Yes, that is definitely one form of Maya. Maya is very subtle, it can penetrate very deep into our consciousness without us being aware of it, without us being even aware of its presence. Ultimately, the bottom line is that Maya means desire to enjoy. Maya plants that very strongly in our mind and consciousness, the desire to enjoy. In other words, the desire to be the master, the Lord of something. If not anything, at least the master of our own senses, our mind, or something. desire to enjoy, desire to seek pleasure in oneself, desire to lord over. In other words, desire to imitate Krishna, desire to mimic Krishna, imitate Krishna. So it is said that at the root of this desire is probably envy. Why only God should enjoy? Why not me? Why not me? Prabhupada says that is for the pure living entity, the pure soul, this is an evil dream that conquers. I mean, when the living entity is under the influence of a dream, and in that dream he imagines himself to be an enjoyer, that's when it is said that he is under illusion, he is under Maya. In a dream, when he is wanting to be an enjoyer, wanting to be a controller, wanting to be the person who is served rather than being a person who is serving. I want to be served rather than I want to serve. So at the root of Maya is the desire to enjoy, desire to lord it over nature, desire to imitate Krishna rather than wanting to serve Krishna. Which is why Prabhupada uses the word very, very often and very, very firmly. He uses the word surrender. It's like a very strong word, surrender. He does not just say accept someone as an authority and work cooperatively or something like that. He says one has to surrender to Krishna or Guru. Surrender means you have no right to think independently of the person to whom you are surrendering. You have no right at all to think also. It may appear like a very harsh thing, uh, very unreasonable. It may appear to us as it's very natural for us to want to enjoy. Actually, material education, the way it is structured now, promotes one's idea of wanting to be an enjoyer. You own this flat, you will be happy, you do this, oh, like that. The whole material existence is directed or geared up to make you believe that you have a right to enjoy, you have a right to mm, nothing wrong in wanting to enjoy, nothing wrong in wanting to possess, nothing wrong in wanting to do things the way you want, the way you like. That's quite natural. That's the power of Maya. It makes it appear as if wanting to compete with Krishna is very natural, is nothing unusual, nothing wrong. So Maharaj Nabi is thinking having a son, what's the problem with that? He asks for a son, and now he is also admitting that your religious energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy and tell how it is working. Maharaj Navi wants a son. Prabhupada says wanting a son, and especially wanting a son like the Supreme Personality of God, is also some form of material desire. So, sometimes it becomes tricky where to draw the line. Where am I? Have I crossed the line or not? Crossed the line of wanting to be an enjoyer. So it is said that even desire for name, fame, puja, labha, pratishta, name, fame, recognition, respect, is also one subtle form of desire to enjoy. You want to be famous, you want to be well known, you want to be respected, you want to be adored, you want to be admired, you want to be appreciated for your austerity. Kind of a oxymoron. You want to be appreciated for your renunciation. It's an oxymoronic statement. That means the first part of the statement contradicts the second part. You want to be famous as a most renounced person. If you're a renounced person, then you don't want to be famous. But Maya works like that. A typical oxymoronic thing. You want to be famous as the most austere person, most renounced person, most surrendered. If you're so surrendered, then why you want to be famous or whatever? You should want your guru or your object of your surrender to become famous or something. But that's the way Maya works. Maya is so subtle. So it's mentioned here, very nicely mentioned here, that you will never realize that you have become a victim of Maya until probably it's a little too late. It's like that famous frog in a pot of water that's being heated very, very, very slowly. You put a frog in a can of water, hot water, it jumps out. But then you put the frog in cold water and heat it very slowly. The temperature increases, and the frog never realizes that's in a, it's in a pan where the water is very soon going to boil, because the temperature is increasing slowly until finally it reaches the same temperature from which it jumped out. It doesn't even realize it's being lulled, it's being tricked into accepting, and then finally it's too late for the frog to jump out. At that time maybe it realizes that. So one form of Maya is it creeps and conquers. I think that's called Avarnatmika. It just creeps very slowly and subtly. And one form of Maya is it completely covers instantly, and that you can kind of figure out. But when the Maya is very subtle, yeah, so here, nevertheless, Maharaj Nabi is admitting that uh, even though Maya is unconquerable, Parajito, uh, even though Maya can effortlessly conquer anybody, but Maya cannot touch the consciousness of a pure devotee. For the simple reason that the pure devotee relishes being a servant of the Lord. It is said that being a servant of the Lord is so sweet uh, that uh, that sometimes even the Lord wants to taste that rasa. There's something intoxicatingly, mesmerizingly sweet about especially being a selfless and a dedicated servant of the Lord. So one such servant of the Lord was Advaita Acharya. Though Advaita Acharya was Mahavishnu himself, though Advaita Acharya was Mahavishnu himself, an incarnation of Mahavishnu, and Lord Chaitanya sometimes takes the trouble to remind Advaita Acharya that you are Mahavishnu. But Advaita Acharya is very determined, fixed. In fact, it is mentioned that in one pastime, uh, Advaita Acharya was considered as, by Lord Chaitanya, as on the same level of his own Guru Ishvara Puri, because Ishvara Puri and Advaita Acharya were disciples of Madhavendra Puri. So Ishvara Puri is the Guru of Lord Chaitanya. So it so happened that Lord Chaitanya would always extraordinarily reverential and respectful towards Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya didn't quite like it. Though Advaita Acharya was elder to him, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakura were elder to Lord Chaitanya. Shivas Thakur as well. But Advaita Acharya was very, very conscious, and he didn't like that he was being respected by Lord Chaitanya, while he wanted to be known as a servant of Lord Chaitanya. So when it finally reached a level where Advaita decided that he'd do something about it, so it'll change the way Lord Chaitanya looks at him. So it is mentioned that suddenly out of nowhere, Advaita Acharya started giving impersonalist interpretations of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, it is Advaita Acharya's Bhagavatam pravachans that influenced Lord Chaitanya's elder brother also, Vishwarup. Vishwarup would listen to Advaita Acharya's pravachans on Srimad Bhagavatam and become a pure devotee. When we say that, became a pure devotee, but that's part of the Leela. Became very, very influenced to the point where he left his home and went away with some sadhu. Went away. No, he went away. Lord Chaitanya's elder brother went away. And the word came back that Vishwarup had taken sannyas or something like that. So, Sachi Mata was already angry with Advaita Acharya, saying, "You have stolen one son of mine. Because of you, I lost one son. Now, don't do that to my other son also." So, Advaita Acharya, because he was being respected, didn't want that to happen. So, he started giving impersonalist interpretations. And it said that when the word reached Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya couldn't believe it. And then he says, "Let me go and check up myself." And he goes and he sees Advaita Acharya speaking complete impersonalist interpretations. This infuriated Lord Chaitanya that he goes up, walks up to Advaita Acharya, even while he was giving the pravachan, walks up to him. And it is said that he slaps him, drags him down, and Lord Chaitanya is so angry with Advaita Acharya that he starts beating him up or something. Then he didn't know that he walked into a trap. Lord Chaitanya. You could say that Lord Chaitanya was, in one sense, influenced by the Leela that Advaita was playing. And then Advaita Acharya is so ecstatic, is so very ecstatic. Then Advaita Acharya asks him, "So now today you're beating me, huh? You're beating me. Very nice, you're beating me. What happened to all that respect you gave me all these days? You were touching my feet in spite of me telling, don't do it. I objected. I refused. I didn't like it. But you were coming, insisting on touching my feet, giving me so much respect. What happened to all that? Why are you beating me up today?" And Advaita Acharya tells Lord Chaitanya that today my life is purified. I've achieved what I want to achieve. This became a big hurdle. The way you were treating me became a big hurdle for me. And then Advaita Acharya mentions that I wanted you to recognize me as the most insignificant servant of yours, and that you could do anything you wanted with me. I didn't like the way you were treating me reverentially and respectfully. And when Lord Chaitanya realizes that he walked into this trap, it is said that he feels very embarrassed that Advaita Acharya tricked him. But you see, they have very sweet and loving dealings with each other. So Advaita Acharya, though he is Mahavishnu, was very clear that he wanted to be assisting this Leela of the Lord, because there's so much rasa amrita sindhu. There's so much happiness, there's so much bliss, there's so much ecstasy. And Rupa Goswami writes pages and pages and pages and voluminous literature describing the different shades of rasa, different variations of this rasa, or shall we say mellow. Prabhupada uses the word mellow, or different shades of pleasure that one can experience by being a servant of Krishna. Dedicated servant, not just ordinary servant. Dedicated. Prabhupada uses the word intense. There has to be intensity in our affection, or even if one is in the dasya bhava, there has to be intensity. There has to be focus. There has to be some intense element in one's serving. So, pages and pages of literature Rupa Goswami has written explaining the different subtle variations and different moods, and how one mood mixes with Aishwarya. What will be what will be the sentiment it will create.
It's like a whole, I would say, encyclopedia on uh, on the whole gamut of emotions a living entity can feel in the when he is engaged in the service of Krishna. And so, the I mean, this is the same as the case with Lord Nityananda, Srivas Thakura, though they are Vishnu Tattvas, not Srivas, but Nityananda and Advaita are Vishnu Tattvas, but they relished being servant being servant because they were drowning in an ocean of bliss, Samrita Sindhu. So we'll just read a few verses from the chapter where glories of Advaita Acharya are described. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, all glories to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. So, Advaita Acharya is actually juggling two roles. He is an incarnation of Hari, but at the same time, he is also one who is propagating or teaching devotion to Lord Hari. So he is Advaita as well as Acharya. Acharya because he is teaching bhakti. Advaita because he is non-different from Vishnu, Krishna, Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So it said Advaita Acharya is indeed directly the Supreme Personality Godhead himself. His glory is beyond the conception of ordinary living beings. Have you found it? Glories, fine, thank you. Mahavishnu performs all the functions for the creation of the universes. Sri Advaita Acharya is his direct incarnation. So Advaita Acharya, that Purusha, is the plenary part of that Purusha and so is not different from him. Indeed, Advaita Acharya is not separate, but is another form of the Purusha. He, Advaita Acharya, Shloka 11, helps in the pastime of the Purusha with whose material energy and by whose will he creates innumerable universes. So, if you look strictly at the hierarchy, even Mahavishnu is assisting Lord Krishna. The forms of Mahavishnu are also assisting, and so Krishna is that one single supreme personality, and all other living entities or expansions or limbs or uh, expansion limbs or amshas also assist the Lord in performing Leela. Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. Being a reservoir of all auspicious attributes, Sri Advaita Acharya is auspicious to the world, for the world. His activities and name are always auspicious. So even remembering the name of Advaita Acharya, remembering the personality Advaita Acharya is very auspicious. Anything connected with Krishna, especially anything connected with the pure devotee, or maybe Vishnu, but in the form of a devotee. So it's very auspicious. Like we saw in today's verse, Nabi Maharaj is saying that the clue, the single and the only clue to escape from becoming influenced by Maya is to serve the pure devotee of the Lord. That is the only way, only clue, only key to unlock the Maya of material world. There's no other way. So serving a pure devotee, because a pure devotee is immune to the effects of Maya. A pure devotee is rather sailing or diving into the ocean of bliss that is created by serving the Lord, Rasamrita Sindhu. So pure devotee is diving and relishing the waves and different moods. As he goes deeper and deeper into the ocean, his experiences are different. So there's no concept, or there's no presence of Maya in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There's nothing called Maya. So the only one and the only effective way to unlock the effect of Maya, to immune yourself, to vaccinate yourself from the effect of Maya, is to be under the shelter of a pure devotee, is to render active service to a pure devotee, to be considered as a surrendered servant, insignificant, current, surrendered, selfless servant of a pure devotee. Then it becomes the pure devotee becomes obliged to protect such living entities from the influence of Maya, just as Krishna becomes obliged to protect the living entities or the Vrindavan residents from all kinds of attacks, whether it's Trinavarta or Aghasura or Bakasura or Dhenukasura, how Krishna becomes obliged to protect them. In the same manner, Krishna becomes obliged to protect those who have taken shelter of his pure devotee. He takes care. Yogakshemam vahamyam. In the in the truest sense of the word, Yogakshemam vahamyam means I will protect that mood of devotion and surrender that my devotees are trying to develop towards me. Not really the material part, your health and wealth and body. No. When Krishna says Yogakshemam, it's a very deep, profound statement. Krishna is saying, I'll protect your bhakti, I'll protect your devotion, provided you are under the shelter of a pure devotee. That is the parampara system, a non-negotiable tenet of the parampara system. You be under the shelter of a pure devotee, glorify him, acknowledge his role, appreciate, serve him. Then Krishna becomes obliged to protect you from the influence of Maya. So here it is mentioned that Advaita Acarya is one such devotee. So we take shelter of Advaita Acarya, or even for that matter, the spiritual descendants of the Advaita line or Nityananda line or like that. If you take shelter, then you become eligible for being protected from Maya, which is otherwise unconquerable. The only force that can conquer, like I said, how Krishna becomes obliged to protect all his associates in Vrindavan from any form of threat or danger. To the extent that Krishna protects them even from threat and danger from demigods also, Maya also. Like Lord, it is said that Lakshmi Devi tells Yamaraj, don't come into the vicinity of Puri Jagannath, because all people here are my own family, and I'll take care of them. You don't have to come here. If you come here, you come as a devotee, that's fine, but not as Yamaraj, because they're mine. I'll take care. Me and Mahavishnu, my Lord, will take care of them. Everything. And so, in the same manner, as long as we are under the shelter of a pure devotee, shelter is not a superficial thing. Shelter means to be actively engaged in serving with all our senses, intelligence, all the resources at our command, offering them unconditionally in the service of the mission of a pure devotee. It's not just a sentiment, it's a very active thing. So then it's a very transcendently blissful exchange of loving sentiments between a pure devotee and his servant, and ultimately towards Krishna. So Advaita Acharya, even remembering him, is considered auspicious. Text 13. Mahavishnu creates the entire material world with millions of his parts and energies and incarnations. So what is being said here is that Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu. It's not a small thing. He's the Supreme Lord's. He's Supreme Lord. But when he comes down as Advaita Acharya, he wants to be known as a servant. He wants to serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya. He wants to be treated as a surrendered devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So we go to verse number 16, where it is said, Lord Vishnu himself is efficient. Of course, I will skip these verses also. They are describing in detail the process of creation, how Advaita Acharya does and what he does, who is the nimitta and who is upadana. We'll skip that part, we'll go. And then, see, Lord, it is said, the Lord infuses the material ingredients with his own creative potency. Then by the power of the Lord, creation takes place. Verse number, yes, correct. So, Advaita Acharya is actually, in one statement, Prabhupada says, Advaita Acharya holds the power of attorney on behalf of Krishna, the Lord, the original supreme creator. He is as good as the creator. He has all the powers of the creator. He holds the power of attorney. Prabhupada uses that word. That means all my powers I have handed over to Advaita Acharya. Let him do the creation. Like that. To that extent, Advaita Acharya is empowered. All innumerable Vishnu forms actually come out of Advaita Acharya. The Lord infuses. So, that Advaita Acharya, when he comes down into this, that Mahavishnu, when he comes into the material world to assist Lord Chaitanya, plays the role of a servant. And he doesn't like to be reminded that he is Mahavishnu. He doesn't like, just as much as Lord Chaitanya doesn't like to be reminded that he is Krishna himself. Advaita Acharya also doesn't like to be reminded that he is Mahavishnu. But Lord Chaitanya doesn't like to be reminded. But then there's a leela that goes on. Advaita Acharya is always conscious that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. And one time it is said that Advaita Acharya embarrasses Lord Chaitanya tremendously. It is said that when the entire group of devotees come to Puri during the Rath Yatra, Advaita Acharya at one time becomes so overwhelmed with ecstasy that he leads a kirtan glorifying the qualities of Lord Chaitanya and not Krishna. And they do this roaring kirtan. And Lord Chaitanya is hearing that something really tumultuous going on. So he comes out of his room in Gambhira and he wants to hear who's doing this kirtan and what are they singing. And as they come closer and as he comes closer and closer, then he realizes that Advaita Acharya is leading the kirtan where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being glorified. And Lord Chaitanya doesn't like it. He says, why are you revealing this? But Advaita Acharya doesn't stop. When Lord Chaitanya comes in his presence, Advaita Acharya becomes even more ecstatic and the kirtan becomes even more uproarious and tumultuous and ecstatic. And it is said that because they see Advaita Acharya is fearlessly dancing and singing glories of Lord Chaitanya in the very presence of Lord Chaitanya, all the devotees also lose their fear and then they are even more ecstatic. And finally, Lord Chaitanya calls Srivas Thakur and says, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. If you reveal my true identity, it will confuse people. Actually, Prabhupada comments, the Acharyas also comment that if it were to be well known that Lord Chaitanya, during his time, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna and Advaita Acharya is Vishnu and Nityananda is Balaram, and the Acharyas comment that it was kept hidden also for the reason that otherwise people would take liberty and also claim to be avatars, just as Lord Chaitanya's associates are claiming, we'll also claim. They didn't want that to happen and hence they kept that confidential. So Advaita Acharya once in a while chooses to embarrass Lord Chaitanya by performing these kirtans. But that Advaita Acharya is the creator of millions and millions of universes. And by his expansion as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he maintains each and every universe. That Advaita Acharya not only creates millions of them, but he also, as an expansion of Advaita Acharya, maintains these universes. And it is said here that Advaita Acharya is the principal limb, Anga. Bhagavatam speaks of Anga. Here it is said, Oh, so they are all angas of the Supreme Lord. And then a limb of the Supreme Lord as against Amsha. Limb means something that is more intimately connected to Krishna. Advaita Acharya was most intimately connected with the Supreme Lord Krishna, much more than an Amsha. Limb. He's one limb of the Lord's body, but he also derives pleasure by serving the Lord. So, in other words, one of the aspects of Lord Chaitanya's Leela is that um, there is so much happiness. Anandambudhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamruta Swadanam. So there is, Lord Chaitanya comes to demonstrate that the amount of happiness and pleasure we get by serving Krishna is immeasurable, is ocean like. It's like an ocean which doesn't have a bottom. It's so deep, so variegated. It's not monochromatic. Monochromatic means the same sentiment. No, it's not like that. There are different sentiments. It's very variegated. It's very colorful. It's very absorbing. It's very exciting to be a servant of the Lord, to be associate of the Lord, to be assisting Him in different leelas. Which is why uh, the residents of Vrindavan don't want to be anything other than the servant of the Lord, other than associate with the Lord in that kind of a mood. It is said that the residents of Vrindavan, they are so pure and so eligible that mukti or liberation or swarupa or sarshti or samipya or salukya are at their beck and call, but they chose not to take it. They just want to be associated as servants, assisting the Lord in His leelas, because that is intoxicatingly, mesmerizingly sweet. So Advaita Acharya is coming here, and the people who read the Chaitanya Tattva like Chaitanya Charitamrita, who understand, can see that there's something so special about serving the Lord and His mission in a very dedicated, unconditional way. Not only are we protected from Maya, which is actually one of the corollary benefits, one of the secondary benefits of becoming a devotee of the Lord. That's not the main thing. The main thing is you will start experiencing very intense emotions So Advaita Acharya is floating in that, on that platform, on that dimension of experiencing constant bliss, transcendental bliss of serving the Lord and His mission. Advaita is a reservoir of virtues, is the main limb of Mahavishnu. His full name is Advaita, for he is identical in all respects with the Lord. All respects, but still he chooses to serve the Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela and the philosophy, theology is that even the intimate, internal, confidential associates of the Supreme Lord derive unlimited, transcendental, ecstatic pleasure by serving the mission of the Lord. And Prabhupada explains that that transcendental, intense ecstasy can also be experienced by those in the parampara of Lord Chaitanya. Nothing less. It's not subtracted or reduced or redacted. It is there, it is still present. Anybody who dedicates himself to the mission of Lord Chaitanya, assisting him under the guidance of, under the surrendered guidance of a Acharya, Guru, etc., he also becomes eventually eligible to taste the same, type of nectar that Advaita Acharya is experiencing. So this is the you could say in one sense the secret behind Advaita Acharya's dedication and why he refused to be reminded that he is Mahavishnu. He says, all right, even if you remind me as Mahavishnu, I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'll still serve Krishna. I'll still serve him in a dedicated manner. And this point is, at this point we come back to the reason why Lord Sri Advaita wanted Lord Krishna to come. Advaita Acharya was so surprised and deeply pained to see how people are running behind petty, insignificant materialistic things and forsaking the deep, intense spiritual ecstasy that they could experience by serving the Lord. They're running behind things like some name, property, money, family, wife, this, that, for which, I mean, all of which adds up to something very insignificant. Advaita Acharya was painfully aware of this, and he was looking at the people of the world, and they're practically wasting their lives performing homas or yagyas, or also all of this comes under the category of karma kanda. Karma kanda means fruitive mentality, doing something in order to derive benefit or enjoy. So Advaita Acharya was deeply hurt and pained and saying, "What are you giving up in order? I mean, what are you doing and what are you giving up?" Just the other side of the coin is intense bliss and happiness and ecstasy that you can experience by dedicating yourself. You're giving that up for something so insignificant and petty and puny, tiny. So, but he realized that he does not have the power in him to transform the people in general. He said only Krishna can do it. Mahavishnu can grant liberation, can grant liberation and so on. But it's only Krishna who can grant pure devotion and prema. That's private, personal property of Krishna. Granting prema for someone, granting ecstatic love for Krishna. That's only Krishna can release. So Advaita Acharya realized that they're all Vedic, they're all following Vedas, but then they are stuck at the Karma Kanda level. And only Krishna has to come personally and give them a taste of what it means to have Krishna-prema. And then he prays on behalf of all the living entities of this world, the pious, the impious, the demoniac, the asuric, and also the karmakandis and the impersonalists. He prays on their behalf and says, "My Lord, you only can change the situation. I can't. I don't have power in me." So when Krishna becomes overwhelmed, taken over by a spirit of compassion at the request of Advaita Acharya, because Advaita Acharya comes and says, "I'm not asking you to come here to give them liberation. I'm not asking them to come and give them some bhakti. I'm asking you to come and give them Krishna prema, the ultimate thing, highest, ultimate result of pure bhakti. Give it to them. They don't even know such a thing exists." Advaita Acharya says they don't even know that there's something called Krishna prema, and in the Krishna prema there is variegatedness, different levels. They're not aware, they're not conscious, they don't want it, they're not even hankering for it, they're so fallen. So it is said that Lord Chaitanya would remind Advaita Acharya every now and then, "You called me for this purpose, to distribute Krishna prema. You asked me to do it." And Lord Chaitanya would say, "I want all people of this universe to recognize that I have come here at your request, at your behest, to give Krishna prema as you ordered me to do." Lord Chaitanya would always acknowledge that he came in the mood of Radharani, at the request, at the behest. He would even say, Lord Chaitanya would say, "You ordered me, you commanded me to come in this mood, hence I have come." So Advaita Acharya's contribution is, in one sense, you could say Lord Chaitanya came because of Advaita Acharya. Or you could say that the intense prayers of in the intense crying of Sri Advaita Acharya influenced the Lord, that he took on the mood. He said, "Here is this devotee of mine who's praying for me, he wants me to come and give out Krishna prema, which I don't do generally. I save them, I protect them, I change their karma, I give them some bhakti, but I don't give them Krishna prema." Krishna prema is a very esoteric, rare, elite, um, mood that I don't give so often. I don't give at all. The last time I came was many kalpas back. But here it is, Advaita Acharya is summoning me, he's calling me, and his prayers, his chanting of my name is attracting me, that I should go and do what he is commanding me to do. So you could say that Lord Chaitanya appeared in the mood in which he did at the request of Advaita Acharya. So can you imagine how grateful we should be to Advaita Acharya that Lord Krishna appeared in the form of Lord Chaitanya and to give out Krishna-prema. So Lord Chaitanya would say that you asked me to come to give this, and hence I'm doing it. For your satisfaction, as per your command, I'm giving out Krishna-prema. And that's exactly what Lord Chaitanya did. Whether one is qualified or not, whether one is seeking it or not, Lord Chaitanya distributed Krishna-prema in its purest and the most intense form. Which is why it's said that when you hear the descriptions of people participating in Kirtan during Lord Chaitanya's time, it defies all normal social norms. I mean, they cry, they jump, they dance, they weep, they roll on the floor, roll on the ground, they smear the dust on each other. This is not an ordinary thing. It's Mahabhava. It's prema. It's Mahabhava in its expressing, manifesting itself in prema. Madhurya prema. There's no concept of Aishwarya or anything else except Madhurya prema. I mean, in its most intense form. They would be in a frenzy. They would be ecstatic. It defies all norms, no, everything. It's a unique, once in a many kalpas phenomena that the world witnesses, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya at the request of Advaita Acharya. So hence it is said that Advaita Acharya's glories are limitless, because it was he who brought about this, or shall we say, who invited the Lord to come as Chaitanya. Hence, his glories are also unlimitedly volume. I mean, you could say it's. So everybody who's benefiting by the Hare Krishna mantra chanting or reading about Lord Chaitanya or Rupa Goswami's literature on the rasa or Jiva Goswami's literature should bow their head down in front of Advaita Acharya, because had it not been for his prayers and using Ganga water and Tulsi Jal and worshipping Krishna and crying out on your behalf, on my behalf, saying, my Lord, please come. Yes, I want you to do something you have not done for a long time. Give out Krishna-prema, not just bhakti. They all had some form of bhakti, but that bhakti got transformed into the most intense, ecstatic, most intense form of prema bhakti. And Lord Chaitanya obliges Advaita Acharya. So today we also express gratitude to Advaita Acharya for being compassionate upon all of us and for bringing Lord Chaitanya in this extremely unique mood. Hence Lord Chaitanya is called Mahavadanyaya. So that Lord, donning that Mahavadanyaya mood, the credit goes to Advaita Acharya. And hence Lord Chaitanya was very respectful to Lord Sri Advaita Acharya. So we have to be grateful to Advaita Acharya, because what he has given to us is Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. All right, so any comments or? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Like I just wanted to know that what is the difference between like bhakti and Krishna prem, like prem bhakti. Like
Okay.
any...
See, bhakti means you could say the preliminary definition of bhakti is acknowledging that I'm servant and Krishna is the Lord. He's the creator, he's the Lord, he's the protector, he's the provider, he's the cause of creation, he's also responsible for what do you call it? Dissolution, pralaya. So acknowledging that this there is a supreme personality under whose rule and guidance this world is existing and maintaining and conducting itself. There's a lot of karma. There are devatas. There's a pyramidical structure. The Lord is there up above and they're all. And sometimes the Lord visits. So it's my duty to be conscious of Him, worship Him, because it's good for me. So that's the preliminary stage of bhakti, because it's good for me. Because I will live in harmony with the Lord, Lord's plan, etc. Because then I won't be troubled. I won't be harassed. I won't have bad karma. So I can live peacefully. So the preliminary stage of bhakti is it's I-centered. It's centered around me. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. I don't want to get into bad karma. I want the Lord to look at me benevolently, benefit me and bless me, etc. That's bhakti. That's bhakti also. That's also bhakti. But prema bhakti is different. Prema bhakti is, there's no I. There's Krishna and Krishna's pleasure. Bhakti, yes, there is to some degree you also want to serve Krishna, but you want to serve Krishna because you want to please Him, so He looks at you very, like I said, He benevolently looks at you. Okay, he's a nice servant, so let him be happy. Like that. That's the mood and anticipation. That's why it's called fruitive. But prema bhakti is madness. It's centered around Krishna's happiness. It's sheer madness compared to the preliminary level of bhakti. It's ecstatic madness. Every cell of your body, every hair on your body is thinking about what can give Krishna more pleasure. And you become overwhelmed by that intense, strong desire to serve and please Krishna. That's not ordinarily achieved. It's achieved only by mercy of a devotee. And when it's sanctioned by the Lord Himself, when the Lord personally sanctions and by the mercy of devotee, you get ecstatic bhakti, prema bhakti. Because, when you get prema bhakti, in one sense you could say you're relishing it as much as the Lord Himself does. When the Lord relishes being served, you're relishing being the servant, being the person who's serving. He is the receiver of service, you're the provider, you're giving service. There's no difference between the Lord and the person who's serving Him so intensely. So both of them are experiencing the same level of intense emotions, bhakti. Intense emotion. That's given by the Lord. That's rarely given by someone like Lord Chaitanya or someone who comes in the parampara of Lord Chaitanya. It's not ordinarily obtained. In that, you dive into the ocean of next ecstatic pleasure that you experience by giving yourself up completely to generate pleasure for Krishna, to do everything that pleases Krishna. Even if Krishna were to come and stand in front of you and says, can you tell me what I can give you? A pure devotee who's experiencing prema bhakti will say, what did you say? You want me to take something? Why should I take? I already got like that. That is our swarupa, by the way. Doing bhakti for fruitive purposes is not really our swarupa. Lord Chaitanya says your swarupa is to be intensely connected with Krishna by way of selfless, uninterrupted, intense service. That's your swarupa. Lord Chaitanya tells us that. So there's a huge difference between preliminary levels of bhakti and prema bhakti. Prema bhakti, if Krishna says, imagine Radharani is sitting in front of Krishna and she's weeping. Krishna says, what happened? I'm sitting in front of you. No, I'm so scared that you'll go away sometime. So I'm thinking about that time when you'll go away and I'm so unhappy. I'm crying thinking maybe someday you'll go away, maybe. That's prema, that's madness. So if you want to know what is prema bhakti, then we have to read literatures of Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrita, specifically Rupa Goswami's literatures. Then you'll know. He's known as Rasacharya. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. This unconquerable Maya has been in existence in Satya, Treta, and Dwapara, where people were much more stronger spiritually. Right? In Kali Yuga, we are much more weaker. But why then Lord introduced Kali Purusha again?
Why Lord?
Introduced Kali Purusha.
Kali Purusha.
Already struggling Maya, and Kali Purusha is also coming in Kali Yuga. It make it more difficult. What?
खलो दोष निधे राजन अस्थिरेको महान गुना कीर्तन देव कृष्ण से मुक्त संग परम रजेत. You see, to feel threatened by Maya is a good thing, because you'll seek shelter. And to feel threatened by Kali Purusha is also in one sense good, because you'll seek shelter more. Hopefully you'll seek shelter more intensely. Now the other scenario is what you are saying. Let's say there's no Kali Purusha and so then it's like the heavenly kingdoms. It's like the Devalokas. It's like the Svargalokas. They have a problem there. They understand this Krishna, they worship Krishna, but the problem there is they don't have intense surrender to Krishna. They're eternally stuck on a fruity platform. Let me serve Krishna so that I get something. My Indra is so worried that somebody will challenge him. Somebody does 99 Ashwamedha Yagyas. Indra is so nervous. He's so tensed up. He's trying to steal the horse. How many times have we read this pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam? So they have a problem there. They have too much. They're enjoying too much. So they can't think of coming to Krishna in the mood in which Kunti Maharani says, the whole situation has changed now. You have made my son an emperor. It's not like how it used to be. We were so terrified about what Duryodhana and his people would do, and we were so surrendered. We were so helpless, shelterless, meek, completely. I want that mood to come back into my mind, where I am frightfully surrendered to you, looking at you constantly, meditating upon you, in a very different, intense mood of helpless surrender. I want that. So the presence of all these dangers or threats are meant to warn you to become more careful, cautious about the dangers of this material world. And what is the danger of this material world? The real danger of this material world is not Kali Purusha, is not Maya. I mean, in one sense, the real danger of this material world is that you want to enjoy like Krishna. We don't want to accept that we are servants of Krishna. And I'm meant to serve Krishna, Guru, Vaishnavas. No, I don't want to accept that. I'm not very comfortable. How can I give up my tendency to enjoy? That's the real danger. That's the real threat. Not some materialistic misery. We have corona, we have this, we have that. Actually, devotee doesn't consider them as real threats. The real threat is not wanting to surrender to Guru and Krishna. Wanting to enjoy subtly, grossly, secretly, wanting to enjoy, wanting to be the center, wanting to be enjoyer and not Krishna. So, in fact, it is said in the scripture that devatas want to be born at this time in this world, in the Kali Yuga, especially during the time Lord Chaitanya appears, because they say we can achieve this faster in one lifetime, what we can't achieve in the heavenly planets, because life is too comfortable, cozy and easy. Why will they? They will. See, if you look at the prayers of the devatas, it's very different from the prayers of the acharyas of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. Huge difference. Sahasra Purusha, Sahasra Shisha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat, like that. Sabhumim Vishvato Amitya. That mood is different. My Lord, you're protecting us, you're taking care of us, you provide us. There are millions of universes you have created. We are so obliged. Every time there's danger, you come and rescue us. That's their mood. But the mood of a pure devotee, the acharyas of the Gaudiya Vaishnava, is very different. Very, very different. Then you'll understand that this is a richer mood. This is a mood that attracts Krishna, that attracts the mercy of Krishna so easily. Krishna is there, he protects them, continues to protect them. But is Krishna attracted to them? No. I mean, Brahma says, I don't even have the qualification to enter Vrindavan. I don't have it. I'm too fruitive. I'm too attached to being Brahma. So there is this Mahaprabhu's mercy line that's coming down that makes this time very unique in the history of creation. Mahaprabhu's mercy line, as long as it is alive, intact, and providing mercy, it's the tap of mercy, causeless mercy. This world, there is hope. So if there is no Kali Purusha, there is no motivation for us to become serious devotees. If there is no suffering, the kind that we see in the material world, in Kali Yuga especially now, it's just the beginning of Kali Yuga, the first pada, I mean, it's like just started. It's not picked up. Like they say, abhi to trailer, what do they say? Picture baki hai. That's actually the situation. It's just a trailer. It's going to get worse. So, we have to think. I mean, that's why it said, the blessed, fortunate souls will look at Kali Yuga, the troubles and tribulations of Kali Yuga, as a boon. Everything is uncertain. Everything is so shaky. So I better take shelter. Like that. The impetus for us to become serious devotees is not there when there is no suffering of this scale. Okay, good question. Any other question? One last question. Yes. Hey, you had follow-up question. You raise your hand. Half raise your hand. Tell me.
Sometimes if we tell someone, maybe foolishly or whatever, that if we serve Vaishnavas or serve the devotees, cooperate and have a mission, like for this mission, Krishna will be very happy. Like in fourth canto, he blesses the sons of King Parijana, and then they becomes very agitated. Like, are we servant? What is this kind of nonsense they're speaking? So instead of serving, can we tell something else to inspire them, or like what to be done?
No. I didn't get the last bit. Instead of serving,
Like instead of saying that you should serve or we should serve, if we can tell something else, or like, is it what should we tell to them, like that? Who get literally they become very agitated, say, by hearing the word servant and all that.
somebody becomes agitated when he is told he has to serve and surrender and serve. Is that your question?
Yes.
You're saying what else can we say instead of that? You see, this conditioning is going on from time immemorial. I want to be an enjoyer. I want to be an enjoyer. I want to be the center of attraction. I want to be the I want to be known, respected, admired, adored, worshipped if possible. This contamination is there from time immemorial in the living entity's heart. Prabhupada says in every living entity's heart. Even the rickshaw driver, the auto driver, the person, he will also have that kind of a contamination. He's born with that type of a contamination. Prabhupada says even the rickshaw driver or rickshaw puller will think that nobody does like me. I'm unique, I'm special, I'm different. So this is there, that contamination is there. Yes, we can take a sledgehammer and hammer him and say, you're not this, you're not that, you're a servant. So you better learn to accept this. But Mahaprabhu's mood is a little different. We don't see Mahaprabhu doing that. We see Mahaprabhu tricking living entities into chanting. The moment we start chanting, because this has the name of Radharani, and the effect of this chanting is very different from that of chanting any other names. Any other names will make you more fruitive, more determined to enjoy this material world, or this feeling that I'm different, I'm unique, I'm special, I better be respected, worshipped, adored, will reinforce that. But when you start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, it has a different influence, because it comes down in this parampara with that mercy touch of Lord Chaitanya. Radharani's mood is there. So you become softer. Then you can tell him, we're actually servants of Krishna. We have to serve Krishna. Not just follow, we have to serve. And at some point of time, they like the word surrender. They will like it. People will like it. I mean, devotees will like it. That becomes a benchmark for them, saying, I'm not surrendered fully. I still have so many crazy things happening in my mind. When will the day come when I will not think of, when there's no space in my mind for anything other than just serving my Guru, the Vaishnava's Guru and his mission? When will the day come when I'll not have any of these contaminations? He will look at it as contamination. That means he's receiving the mercy of the holy name, the sadhus, the scripture, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vaishnavas, Krishna. Everybody is receiving that mercy. And that's when he starts thinking that when will the day come when I will surrender more and more? I don't have, like I said, no space in my mind for anything other than my Guru's mission. He will like it. He will relish it. He will hanker for that kind of a mood. Krishna will give it. Someday he will bless. So we have to prepare the living entity. We can't just do the sledgehammer method, smash like that. It doesn't work so well. So we trick them, we give them the holy name, we give them books, and we slip in Bhagavad Gita as it is, we slip in the Bhagavatam, we let them hear, we give them prasadam. And also because there's so much happiness in serving the Lord, chanting, associating with devotees, and engaging in devotional service. There's so much happiness they hold on. And when they do, and then some reciprocation, Guru, Krishna, Vaishnavas will provide. Even if a Guru thinks, nice, sincere boy is trying his best, that's enough. He's trying his best, he's really trying. Then, so our real change of heart comes by the mercy of Guru, Parampara. We have to wait, we have to make that happen. And the moment they come under the shelter of devotional service, change starts happening. So that's why we endeavor to make people chant, take prasad. Even if they start chanting, the transformation begins. Yeah, as soon as you walk in, you can't tell somebody, now come, you should surrender. Chances are you may not like it. Chances are very high that you won't like it. Lord Chaitanya said, chant and serve. You don't see him so aggressively pushing the word surrender. No, not so much. This is the natural outcome of being properly situated in the line of bhakti. Surrendering, wanting to do more, wanting to be a selfless servant of Guru Parampara. Natural outcome. Okay, good question. Thank you very much. Shri Advaita Acarya ki. Shri Radha Madan Mohan Jagannath Baladev Subhadramaya Shri Gaur Nithai ki. Jagat Guru Pati Pavan Srila Prabhupada.